it's Tom. In my last video, I talked about upcoming projects. I've been working on some speakers, and since this is all hobby stuff now, it's taken a long time. So what I decided to do is break this up into sections. So in part one, we're going to take a look at the actual assembly, right? So gluing the stuff together, and maybe get into even just some of the basics of the finish. And then in part two, we'll go through and complete the finish. And in part three, we will do the actual final assembly. So you've got the crossovers that we have to build in the final assembly. So for now, I just want to get something out because I'm trying to get back in the habit of doing regular content again. So sit back and get to watch me sand and watch paint dry and fun stuff like that. So anyways, I'll see you soon.
All right, so we're taking a look, getting started on this. And first step, it says to actually either cut or drill holes for the binding clamps. Right? So there's different kinds of ways that you can connect the wires and the speakers. And I'm just using the standard binding clamps, so use like banana plug style. And it looks like we need to drill a hole. It's nice, it's got this, looks like that should be like a little press fit. So let's figure out a couple things. Caliper. This is the fun part, right? When you're a machinist and you're doing woodworking stuff, it's like, how accurate does this need to be? All right. Okay. So it says 270. I'm reading about 279, 280. So we'll find a drill that's under that diameter. So it says a couple inches off the bottom. What's a couple inches? Come on, man. All right. So let's say 2 inches. So here's 2, there's 2, there. And this is 4.5 inches. So if we go at 2 1/4, that's our center point. So let's take it 1 inch from the center point. Well, that's not 1 inch, is it? 3. Okay, so here's our. This feels so wrong, measuring this out like this. But there are our drill points. Those are drilled and deburred. Looks like it's going to be a tight fit, but it should work just fine. And this is MDF, so it should actually expand around into the knurling on these really nicely. I think it'll be fine. Not too worried about it. All right, so let's put these up for now. Let's put away. All right, we drilled. Yay! Something I know how to do. And so when we look at all of our stuff, we've got enough for the 2 speakers, right? So those are the 2 backs, an array of clamps. We have Titebond Ultimate Wood Glue and a super cool spreader. Some tape to help keep things nice and neat and clean, but also hold things in place while we're getting things ready. All the tricks that you learn when you watch YouTube videos, because I wouldn't have known that. So this goes like this, and we're just doing a dry run real quick. Make sure we've got everything ready to go. That looks fine, that looks fine. Actually, it wanted me to do one side, put this thing in, and then put the other side in. So effectively, we'll get this thing in, squared up, right? And then you drop this guy on top. All right? And then clamp the heck out of it from all sorts of different directions to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. That's the basics of it. And this looks pretty nice. From what I can see, these are cut. They're cut really nicely, pretty, very precise. All right, well, apparently I didn't have quite enough clamps to do both of them at the same time, although I've got some other clamps I can use. I just need to make sure they're clean first. You don't have to clamp these like super tight, right? It just has to be, like once you see the glue squeezing out, you're in good shape, right? Probably used too much glue in some areas, but again, we're trying to make sure that this, it seals, right? We're going for airtight. Now, I will, when I do my finishing on this, I will actually sand everything nice and smooth. I will use filler to fill any gaps, things like that. So this will be good and airtight. Wow. Yeah, we've got a thunderstorm, so I think for today, or right now at least, I'm gonna call this one. So it'll be a rinse and repeat for this other one anyways. Well, for right now, this is one of these times where it's time to just let things sit and watch the glue dry. So I'm gonna let this go overnight. I think we're in good shape overall. I'm not too worried about the clamps on this one. I'm probably overdoing it on the other one, to be honest. Yeah, so with that, this is meant to be just kind of a side thing, so I'm gonna come back to this later in the week. Give this plenty of time to cure, and we'll come back to it. See you guys soon.